HBO's classic gangster show The Sopranos contains a wide variety of characters like Tony Uncle Al, Tony Uncle Johnny, and Uncle Philly my ass. Some supporting characters are staples of the show and are a constant presence, like Tony's nephew Christopher. Some stay for a season or two, like Richie Aprile, and others, surprisingly, given they make a strong impact during their time, are only in this series for a single episode, like the stripper Tracy, Long John Silver, and the laundromat owner Kim. One of the standout minor characters from the last two seasons who I wanted to talk about today is Humanities Award winner JT Dolan, a screenwriter and a friend of Chrissy's from Rehab. First appearing in the episode In Camelot, Dolan introduces himself at an AA meeting as an alcoholic, an addict, a TV writer, and a douchebag. He credits Christopher with helping his recovery, and after mentioning to Chrissy that he would like to play some poker, Chris asks if he wants to play a real game. Very soon, JT borrows money off Chrissy and wastes it on a losing streak, with Chrissy charging him a vig and telling him, "I will not enable you." When he's unable to pay back in time, Chris and little Paulie pay him a visit and beat him, taking his car as partial payment. Seeing Dolan lament losing his treasured car and Chrissy comforting him,
"So you'll get another one?"
There's something quite sick about it all, as Chris is the one taking his car. It's his debt to Chris that has made him relapse and why he needs to go back to rehab, and Chris is like,
"You can do this, man. I have faith in you."
Playing the part of a supportive friend, not the vicious mobster he is, and he then lectures him about falling off the wagon. It reminds me of a line from The Thick of It.
"I feel I'm in a therapy group being run by my own rapist."
It also reminds me of Chris in The Wire, comforting his victims before he kills them. Another thing it might remind you of is a certain storyline concerning degenerate gambler Davey Scatino. We've discussed him in a previous video, but he's a guy who Tony targeted, knowing he had a gambling problem, and once he hooked him with debt, he bled him dry in a bust-out. I wonder if Chrissy intentionally set up JT, who initially had been gambling responsibly at a racetrack, who had no interest in Chrissy's mob life. Unlike the likes of Jon Favreau, he wasn't using Chris's life for his scripts or anything, he just saw him as a friend, a fellow recovering addict, and a gym buddy. I wouldn't put it past Chrissy to use JT as a shoulder to cry on when he's in pain, and humour JT's own issues, but ultimately see an opportunity to make some money out of him. The Mafia instincts never leave these guys, it's in their nature, as Tony says to Davey, and surely Chris, even subconsciously perhaps, recognized JT as a potential mark, a target to be ostracized. Chris says he will not enable him, but that's exactly what he did, and that's the kind of line you might hear from Mr. Mob Boss, who was always looking to distance himself and offload guilt when he was involved in activities that hurt others, something which we discussed in the T1000 video. Maybe on a level Chris was genuine. He was quoting all the recovery steps and mantras, but eventually his true nature as an exploiter emerges. The cobwebs are now removed. Occasionally, The Sopranos has had meta elements in the show, such as when, after female critic Linda Stasi slammed the show for not having enough mob violence, the character Lorraine Caluzzo was created, and Johnny Sack specifically mentions,
"Whack this one, whack that one, never enough body count for Lorraine."
In a similar vein, I wonder if the character of JT was a vehicle for the showrunners to grind their axes or make industry-related jokes. David Chase had a volatile relationship with many of the writers of the show, and I'm sure he got a chuckle out of JT's introduction as a TV writer, automatically making him a douchebag. Chase is also well known for initially trying to break into the movie industry but was unable to do so. He looked down on television as an art form, which is a delicious irony seeing as though he ended up creating arguably the greatest television show ever made. Even still, throughout the course of the show he suffered with self-doubt and reservation over the show. And this adds a meta layer to the scene where Dolan tries to pawn off his Emmy award but the clerk only offers a few dollars for it, saying it's no Academy Award. There's this too.
"An entire room full of writers, and you did nothing!"
The character also acts as an example for Christopher and for us, in that being a movie and TV screenwriter is not all it's cracked up to be. He returns in season 6, working as a full-time professor of a writer's class, where he's kidnapped by a criminal mastermind and taken to Chrissy, apparently having failed to deliver a script. Eventually the script becomes Cleaver, which is pitched by JT and later shot and screened in a premiere where Dolan is embarrassed in front of his girlfriend after not being mentioned by Chris when he's thanking people responsible for the film. To add insult to injury, Chris forces JT to tell Tony the mob boss in the movie and his shenanigans is not based off him. In the episode Walk Like a Man, Chrissy relapses after being humiliated by Paulie, and he heads over to JT's apartment where he pours his heart out, rambling about what he's done for the mob, toying with the idea of flipping. The irony is lost on Chris that he says things like, "You think he's your friend, all these pricks," when he's treated Dolan like utter trash. Dolan doesn't want to hear what Chris has to say and wants him to sober up, advising drinking coffee, calling his sponsor, going to a meeting, but Chris goes on, still going this asshole, desperate to receive pity or understanding from Dolan, until Dolan says,
Chris, you're in the Mafia.
Leading Chris to calm down, turn to the door, but suddenly swing back and shoot JT dead with a single shot. Dolan went from writing Law & Order the SUV to becoming a Law & Order episode. I guess he made that coffee to go.